AI is going to change management education.
If you think that old techniques, old management rules will work, it might not. Nothing permanent in this world. So change is the only permanent thing, and the things are changing at a very rapid pace.
How do you think managerial roles change over the next 5 years? Unfortunately, we have this very tragic news today about our Air India aircraft going down. We are like a IT initiative in Darbhanga. Namaskar and good afternoon. My name is Arvind, and I'm one of the founders of Mithilastack. We are like a IT initiative in Darbhanga, which is a very small tier 3 town in Bihar, North Bihar. Not too many IT stories from Darbhanga or Bihar. We are trying to change that, and we are trying to build a little bit of presence around AI, especially because we have been able to do a little bit of work in AI from Darbhanga. And I thought one of the best ways could be to start to answer some questions around AI and have some discussions with experts. And therefore, we have set up this first webinar. But unfortunately, we have this very tragic news today about our Air India aircraft going down. Before we start formally, I'd like to really express our condolences for all the families who are affected by this tragedy. And I hope that our government and all the authorities can give them all the support that they need in this hour. So with that, we'll start. Before I start, let me introduce the two speakers, and they're very, very kind to us in terms of giving us their time. Dr. Sarabjit Oberoi, who's the Associate Dean at IMT Nagpur. So he specializes in management technology in some senses, and he's been there for about 7 years. He's an expert on operational side, an expert on quantitative technologies, and he's been a professor himself, very distinguished in his own right. And he was very kind to agree to have a little discussion about AI and how AI is going to change management education, and maybe his insights as an academician would be very helpful, I thought, in terms of giving a flavor to our audience, what to expect in a management course and how we can go around it. And some of the questions that we'll have, also the discussions we'll have, you will see we are really thinking about the future today. And then also great joy to welcome Saurabh Shah, who's heads people operations at KRAFTON India. And KRAFTON itself is a body that specializes in management and people issues. So they work on change management, they work on organizational effectiveness, they work on corporate affairs, operational excellence. All of these are practitioners' point of view. So I thought we'll have an industry point of view. We have Dr. Sarabjit giving us the academic point of view. And when I graduated way back in 1986, it was on expert systems and AI itself. So I've probably been chasing AI for 35, 40 years. We've been through the AI winter, and now we are kind of looking at the AI, I don't know what's called, blitzkrieg, so to say, in the last 2 years. So with those words of welcome, maybe I can just set the context for you guys, and then the format here is going to be more discussion format. We have some themes in mind, which we've discussed within the panelists. We'll discuss that for about 35 minutes, and then happy to take some questions and see if we can answer some specific questions. So when we look at AI today, in the last 2 years since OpenAI introduced ChatGPT and GenAI became a household name, we are seeing it's kind of moving so rapidly, so fast, all pervasive. Like every sphere of human activity, we can see AI impact, almost threatening to disrupt every industry, threatening to disrupt human activity itself, or create a new kind of human society. So lots of doubts in people's minds about how things are going to shape up, what's going to happen or not happen, how we should look at AI, how, and management is the apex of in a sense organized human activity for any corporate or institution or government or academic kind of framework. So clearly there will be a lot of change. So maybe with that we can start, and maybe start with Dr. Sarabjit yourself, sir, and say, with all these AI tools coming in and rapidly kind of invading into every sphere, how are you seeing management jobs change? How do you think managerial roles change over the next 2, 5, years. If you can share some of your thoughts about this topic that we chose today, that could be a good way to start, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words. But I want to tell you one important thing, that there is nothing permanent in this world. So change is the only permanent thing, and the things are changing at a very rapid pace. Uh, AI is not new. Actually, the term was coined in 1956 by John McCarthy, but actually last decade has shown a lot of applications of this. One of the reason is the intensity with which the technology is transforming from one country to the other, from one region to the other. And one important aspect is that India is a country with having 70 crore people with internet access. So AI will not only it will have impact on jobs, I will agree, but it will provide a lot of opportunities also, because presently India is a market which is untapped, rural market especially. Many companies are working on it, and AI can play a key role there. One thing is sure, that survival of the fittest. If you think that old techniques, old management rules will work, it might not, because the things are changing at a very rapid pace. You also have to adopt. AI actually is a helper. Without human contact, it might not be able to survive for very long. Here and there, you can say some of the jobs it can do, but most of the things, somewhere human interaction or human intervention would be required. So again, I will say AI will not take all the jobs, but you have to become a specialist if you really want to have a job in which there is no change required. So there is no job in this world, because even we in the education sector might face a lot of issues with AI. We are working on it. Every institute is coming with a policy on it, artificial intelligence. The best example is, if you see, earlier students were having assignments mostly doing manually, but now these tools are available. We have to come up with a policy, because these things they should learn. We cannot say that they should not learn, but they should not misuse. So there is an ethical side to it. So there is a need for coming up with ethical guidelines. There is a need that the courses or the things which the companies require should be focused as well as aligned with the artificial intelligence. So in next 2 to 3 years, as sir has asked, although there is a possibility that AI will become important in many industries, as per McKinsey report, 75% companies are working towards implementing AI in coming years. So which is the requirement that most of the companies will be looking for the people who know about them, who can use them properly, who can guide them, even design them. So there will be a requirement. So in next 2 to 3 years, I will say there will be a change, and we have to start working on it.
Thank you so much. And we will go into some details on some of those ideas that you articulated, but maybe let's just go to Saurabh and see, what he's thinking, as I floated the idea about doing an MBA and AI kind of crossover webinar. What are you thinking, Saurabh? What's your, kind of take on this topic itself, and how this is impacting, leadership and people management, which you guys specialize in?
Sure. Thank you, Arvind, sir. It's indeed an honor and pleasure to be part of this esteemed group of speakers. From my perspective, when I heard the topic, the only thought which came to my mind was, as machines are getting better to be machines, I think humans are required to become better humans, and I think that exactly is the journey which we are on at this point of time. As machines get smarter, I think we as humans need to get further smarter of how do we leverage what is available to us to do the best of what we are expected to do. That is basically think, basically feel, and basically execute what is required to be done from a nation, from an organization, from a team and individual perspective. So I think that's how I look at it. And sir mentioned something exceptional about change, and I think change most of the times is enforced on us. And if we embrace that with open arms, then the transition becomes smooth. It would be patchy, but then it still is smooth because we are prepared. Because they always say that when you're proactively prepared for change, then the journey becomes at least smooth enough for you to accept, because then you are assertive of the change and you're not aggressive about the change. And then these are two very, very powerful words. When you're assertive of the change, you know what you're going to do, you know your action plan, and you're going to focus on working on those steps. Whereas when you're aggressive, then you're reacting to a situation, and reaction most of the times will not yield you the results which, if you are assertive, will yield. So I think that's what I look at it. How do we prepare ourselves in this journey? How do we make ourselves a part of this journey? And as smart human beings, having something which is unique with us, which is our brain, how do we make best use of it to do good for everybody around us from an ecosystem standpoint? So that's my perspective when I heard about this topic.
So let's follow that up, Saurabh, with and more specifics. Get down to one level specifics below that, right? And what I did was I used AI. So I asked Grok, what are the top 10 management tasks that you can summarize in a bullet point, right? And it came back, it gave me planning, this strategy, decision making, leadership, resource allocation, performance management, communication, problem solving. Now, obviously, we can see many of these factors are somewhat immediately impacted by AI. And since you come from the operational excellence background, anything around data-driven decision making, anything around routine tasks, anything around these kind of tactical stuff can immediately be taken over by AI. But are you also seeing that the softer, and both of you talked about the human aspect of it, right? The softer leadership skills, or the soft skills, as we say so, strategic roles, ethical, considerations, for example, accountability, human-centric leadership, are they also getting impacted by AI? Have you seen any evidences where, AI is also, in a sense, that AGI yatra that we are all on as a human society, is that also showing some impact? Where are you standing on that?
I think from my perspective, the basics of us as humans and basics of management will continue to remain same. Passion, purpose, proactiveness, our focus on people, that continues to be the same, and it will only evolve as we go through this journey. But then the ways of management is definitely changing. So basically, a leadership from that perspective, a leadership prior the technological advancement, and the leadership which is expected as part of this journey of AI and technological change, the leadership behavior is changing, if I look at it. So while the ethos and the basics won't change, but I think behavior would change. And because of the behaviors changing, obviously the ways of management would change. Where probably earlier times we did not have technology as much available, whereas now leaders AI very much available. So at KRAFTON, all our employees across the globe have access to Gen AI tools. So as a leader, I have to enable how these tools can be used in a better way, innovative way, to make sure that we bring the best out of our people. So I think that's how I look at the leadership space changing. Basics will not change, but the principle or the application of management, application of leadership will evolve. And I think it's a continuous journey where leadership will have to keep evolving, have that AI fluency, have that AI literacy, so that we are able to move in the journey ourselves, as well as help our teams to move along. So I think that's how I look at what you mentioned in terms of preparedness.
Okay. So is the current management thinking, or the academic thinking, Dr. Sarabjit, kind of aligned to this change? You did say that management courses are also changing. Can you give us a little more flavor in terms of how they are changing? In terms of, they used to have marketing, finance, HR, operational efficiency, data analytics, these kind of, let's say specializations. Now seems like the only specialization is AI specialization in many senses, right? So how are you guys dealing with this, and saying, okay, here's how my curriculum should change. Here's how our teaching methodology should change. Here's what we should prepare the students for. Give us some insights from the academic world, Dr. Sarabjit.
Sir, firstly, I want to say that there is always some change happening. So we also have to change our curriculum, even the way of teaching. So big data has come, I think 5-6 years back, there was a lot of use of big data. And after that, this artificial intelligence is becoming more important. So in the last few years, most of the good B schools have adopted big data. Analytics is part and parcel of all courses. But we can't say that only specialization is artificial intelligence. Please understand that unless you know the basics of marketing, or unless you know the basics of other streams, artificial intelligence also might not be able to help you. It is like a tool which can make your things easier. I just give you a small example. For example, Siri can tell you which song to listen, but unless you know which composer, which kind of song you want to listen, so you will not be able to finalize that. So like that, artificial intelligence can help you in market segmentation. It can help you in targeting. It can help you in positioning. But unless you know the concepts, it's very difficult. So we have to align these concepts with the artificial intelligence. Another thing which is important is that even artificial intelligence needs regular updation, like as per the market, as per the customer, as per the requirements, as per the regulations. For example, the artificial intelligence regulations might be very different in India, might be different in Europe and other countries. So accordingly, artificial intelligence also cannot be adopted immediately unless it becomes more useful to you or your organization. So here, before that, the basic knowledge of all management principles or the domains of management is required. So that's why most of the B schools are slowly moving with the alignment of these courses. There will be some sessions on this, plus the basics will remain. We can't change the basics. We have to align these basics with artificial intelligence and come up with the solutions which are more applicable, which can be used in a better way and a faster way. One of the things which artificial intelligence can help is your decisions can be faster, analysis can be faster, but you should know the basic, then only these faster things will be of any use to you. Plus, they might give you the solutions, but interpretation, whether they are applicable to your market, applicable to you or your industry, again, here, management principles, management domain knowledge is required. So we have to come up with an amalgamation of both the things, the management knowledge as well as artificial intelligence.
Fair enough, but let me ask you, because the thing is that the technology and the tools are evolving so quickly. And, for example, a lot of the MBA courses will have a dual problem, right? One is to retrain their own faculty, in terms of using these tools and getting expertise and getting, there is a philosophical aspect of, where we are going with AI, but there's also a hard aspect of, what can you do with, some of the tools today. So as you are learning, the tools are shifting and the students are expecting, that you take them onto a new trajectory. Okay. And then we have this self-learning tools available where, people can do learning on yourself. So what are the, how do you see the challenge from an academic, from, you are yourself administrator and dean, how do you see this and how are you solving this? If you can share, because many of our attendees may be aspirants for a MBA course or young managers, and then they can think of how to do this in their own lives, perhaps.
Fully agree, it's very challenging. And as we are moving forward, we are coming with the solutions on that. As I told you, I don't know about other institutes. We have come up with the artificial intelligence policy, where we have a policy for how much of this can be used, what kind of assignments it can be used, how it can be related to the topics. So we have to come up with these guidelines. Plus, as you say that ethics plays a key role. So ethically, we have to train the students that up to this extent, this is good. You have to come up with your own things also. It's not that only the artificial intelligence. I just give you one example of a research. Artificial intelligence can give you the interpretations, and many times it gives you the interpretation which are just based on the result. But there might be some other angles which it might miss. Sometimes what happens is it gives you a write-up for your research article, but the references or the citations are not correct. So unless you are involved, I'm just telling you some experiences which my friends and my known people have faced. So sometimes the citations are wrong, and it will create a more trouble for you than giving you an advantage. So we have to come up with a way so that it can be explainable artificial intelligence, which can be easily used, which can be collaborated with your work, and your creativity should always be there. It should not be that you totally depend upon that. So like that, we are coming up with the course curriculum, as well as the assignments, evaluation components, so that we can easily judge how students are performing and how they will be performing in the changing market.
Okay. Saurabh, I initially I thought I'll start this discussion by painting the gloom and doom picture, and there are so many large company statesmen or leaders who have made some very provocative statements about job losses. We've also seen lots of examples of big retrenchment happening. Some of them kind of then were reversed because they seemed like too early decisions. I'll give you some examples, like the Klarna CEO. He made a statement that we've reduced our workforce from 5,000 to 3,000, and then they had to kind of rescind that statement and rehire some of the people who were let off. The Shopify CEO has been very strongly kind of saying that if you don't have AI, then we will not be able to hire you. We will not be able to promote you from that perspective. The CrowdStrike CEO has been very active on this himself, and he said we operate in a market where technology is at the inflection point, and it's threatening everything that we do from that perspective. Then we've had statements from some of the big industry leaders, like OpenAI CEO Sam Altman himself, saying people will lose jobs to AI. Not everybody is going to like the impact. Anthropic CEO has said AI could wipe out half of all the entry-level jobs. So in this sphere, and IBM CEO Arvind Krishna also actually said that we are going to replace hundreds of HR kind of employees. You come from the HR world, and you come from the people management. What's happening in the people world? What's the debate about the jobs, entry-level jobs? We have so many young graduates looking to graduate. We have so many young MBAs perhaps on this call thinking about spending a good amount of money in terms of doing an MBA course. Will they have a job? Will people at the entry level have a job? Will managers exist because now you have much smaller teams? Okay, and or will roles change as we've been talking about? Give us some insights on this job aspect and the threat aspect, if you can, please.
I think from my perspective, it is changing from authority to authenticity. If I look at it a very broad spectrum, and now if we could draw the analogy, if you ask me point blank, will there be job losses? Yes, there will be job losses, and I don't want to shy away from saying that there will not be any job losses. Don't worry, this is just a phase. There will be job losses, but there will be job losses where it comes to very repetitive work. And there was a very recent article which was published by Deloitte, which was speaking about the delta in terms of the opportunities which will exist by 2030, and the skilled resources which are available today, and if extrapolated, what would be the number of resources which would be available. You'll be surprised the difference between what is required from a talent standpoint and what would be available. It's still at a 27%. So the deficit by 2030 of people available will still be at 27%. But then yes, who would be these remaining people, 73% people who would be getting those jobs, right? These are people who will make sure that they move from the authority aspect to an authenticity aspect, make sure that they continuously evolve themselves from a technological standpoint without leaving the conceptual clarity with them. And it's very simple, Arvind sir. So Sarabjit sir gave an example of the tools, right? Now, if you realize, when ChatGPT was introduced, we had a flurry of authors which suddenly came over LinkedIn, and now if you see, they've already vanished. So if you have very, very few people who continue in this journey. So, if you don't have the conceptual clarity, if you don't have the conceptual maturity, you will fade away over a period of time. So it is very important that you keep yourself relevant. You could be a team member, you could be a manager, you could be a leader as well. Your role is definitely going to evolve. Your role, which is repetitive, I mean, aspects of your role which is repetitive, which can be automated, will definitely not exist. And I'll take you back to the industrial revolution, right? We had so many manual machines which were doing manufacturing work for us. After the industrial revolution, automation came in. The same fear was there that will people lose the jobs. It was from those lathe machines to CNC machines, and then you know what I'm saying, right? But did people lose jobs? Yes, people did lose jobs, but then the ones who adopted to the CNC machines, learned computers, got it. I think the bottom is continuous learning. Make sure the curiosity is there, and you're very, very good with your basics. If you're good with your basics, only then you will know what to automate and what not to automate. Ultimately, the machine will not, the tool will not make a decision. The decision should be made by you. But for you to have that authenticity to make the decision, you should be conceptually aware of what needs to be done. So I think that's how that journey is going to be. And, we will have to really put in efforts to make sure that, we are ready for this transition. There's no point in just staying in a flux that nothing is going to change. Definitely things are going to change. And we are already noticing that, in my own organization, for the first half of next year, I have started planning in terms of what are those people processes which I could look at automating. And but I'm not looking at any saving from a resource standpoint. I have started mapping in terms of how better I can utilize my team to do what they are required to do. So from a leadership standpoint, this should be the clarity. It should not be only the dollar saving I would get by reducing a headcount in my team. It is a dollar saving which I'll get by automating the process of bringing in tools into the process, right? I was reading an article this morning, and it was about AI-induced recruitment. And this organization claims that the 10,000 hiring they intend to do, they might not need X number of recruiters to do it because AI bots are going to do the initial screening. But yeah, what happens after the initial screening? You need people who will help these resources identify if they are culturally fit, if they stack up to the requirements of the organization. So there will be a position, there will be a role for these people in the value chain. The challenge is, are you really going to be stuck to, I'm doing sourcing, should I just do sourcing? Or, you will move on to a value add where, you will look at having conversation with a potential candidate and convert that candidate from being a potential candidate to a confirmed candidate. So I think that's how I look at this phase and, probably the preparedness from our perspective.
Thank you for that. I think it's reassuring, but I still, because this area is such a big concern, maybe I'd like to bring in Dr. Sarabjit on this and say, look, in the academic side, and one of the, remember one of the discussions I saw, Mark Anderson was talking about AI. He's the Netscape founder and now the big VC in the Valley. That one of the big impacts that he saw was that everything is going to become very cheap. You have this huge automation capability with this super, it's like a HAL from the space kind of series. You have this computer which knows everything, can answer everything in a sense. So then everything should become very cheap and efficient, right? Now, when everything becomes very cheap and efficient, how does the corporate profit, or how does the profitability, or how does the whole society change because of that? And I don't know if some of the academics have started thinking about it. So researchers are thinking about it and saying, where is the asymptote going towards? And therefore, if I look at like next 10 years or 20 years, then some manager who's kind of 25 today, by the time he or she is 40, 45, what kind of world are they expecting to be in? How they should prepare themselves? Have you thought about that, Dr. Sarabjit?
Sir, actually, last 2-3 years only this has been started. So still I will not say it's a very nascent stage because many people are working on it. Even the B schools are working on that. So one thing which I will tell you, as Saurabh was also saying, that repetitive kind of job with the jobs at the lower level will not be there. So we have to come up with jobs which are more relevant, which are required. So artificial intelligence, again, as he was giving example of the manufacturing, I just give you another example. When the computers came into the picture, many people thought that jobs will go. No, jobs have not gone, but there was some new kind of jobs which are based on computers, which was based on programming, which were based on coming up with the other kind of systems. Similarly, artificial intelligence also will require human intervention, and we have to come up with courses. As I told you earlier also, they cannot make the decisions like humans. They are based on some program languages, and somewhere down the line, human interventions, how they should be managed, how to, and they also need upgradation on the regular basis. For these upgradations, we need managers, and in the long run, managers also have to update themselves on a regular basis, upgrade their skills, because it's like survival of the fittest. I told you earlier also, it's very important to upgrade ourselves. The people who will not be upgrade will face problem, might lose jobs, maybe in 5 years or 10 years down the line, depending on the country and the environment, because some countries might implement automation immediately. Some countries might take, because it's a costly affair, some countries might take time. Similarly, some society, there will be adoption of AI at a very faster rate. In some societies, it might not, but it will have an impact. So we have to design our curriculum accordingly. We have to change our courses with basics. We have to come up with some AI tools, how AI tools should be designed, how they can help. Plus, ethical AI is another issue which might come into the picture, because, as I told you, there are cases where they have made wrong decisions. They were not able to give the correct answers. So these things need experts, and these experts will be human beings only. So the jobs will be there, but again, I will say entry-level jobs will be less. That will be a problem, but specialists would be required.
Okay, I think Saurabh wanted to say something. Saurabh, go ahead.
No, and I think so. AI did give me some insight about the changing role of manager, and I think what it suggested was that the role will increasingly be about doing sense check. Having that calibration approach. It would be about risk evaluation. So looking at so doing the balancing act between two options, and really curating the AI, human AI collaboration. I think these are three powerful words which when I was preparing for this webinar, ChatGPT prompted me. So I think this is how AI is going to change the role of a manager. But then if you really see, it goes back to the thinking, the human brain. And it is probably going to push us to use our emotional intelligence and our thinking in the right combination, by helping us provide very authentic and very data oriented angle to anything which we are wanting to do. So I think that was something a little more I wanted to add.
Thank you. I mean, I did hear both of you say that this will not happen, or decision making will be primarily left to human beings, and I have my doubts on that, frankly, because from the industry vantage point, we see the curve of industry is tending to lots of decisions getting automated, lots of strategic decisions also getting automated, for example, and the asymptote seems to be, and there's a philosophical that humans mostly have no time. I mean, there is a world full of machines and robots and IoT and everything else who are kind of doing everything themselves, and then you have time enough to do gossiping on your smartphone or whatever device, for example, that happens to be in the case. One last question I wanted to kind of maybe check in with Dr. Sarabjit on this before we go for some questions is, there are some students, and we targeted to invite some students or aspiring students to this webinar, Dr. Sarabjit. If you are looking at a new MBA course, if you're getting admission in 2025 into an MBA course, what are the questions you should be asking from your university that you selected or the course you selected in terms of the AI readiness? How can they how can they, can you suggest some kind of specific questions they can ask around certifications, around tools, around specialization, around collaboration, around industry, that will help them decide whether that particular course is actually going to help them in that AI journey, or maybe it's too, old fashioned, they should consider some other university instead.
Sir, I will again say that it depends upon university and the colleges. Some colleges are giving on their website itself that they have artificial intelligence policy, they have analytics courses, machine learning, and these tools have been used by them. But if you are really want to know that, you can see how they are basically reviewing their curriculum on a regular basis, whether they are providing jobs or they are providing training. Both the things can be asked in the AI as well as analytics area, because these two areas are clubbed together. Generally, analytics is a part of AI because from there only the AI has come into the picture. So that might be another way of looking at it. But again, I will say, if you join a good institute, basics will always be required, and then you can club it with either their courses, or you can side by side do extra courses from your side also. There are a lot of outside courses available which can help you once you complete your MBA and get you better opportunities and chances of getting a better job. It will only enhance your skills. And finally, it's in your hand how you take this forward. If you think that it will take my job, I will not get job, actually it will spoil everything. It's better you take it positively and work on it and come up with a self-disciplined plan that I am doing my MBA from this institute. The institute itself will have courses, as well as I will also, because now only we were discussing, AI has made the learning easy. So there will be other ways out also. So side by side, I will be learning some other courses. I will keep track of what market require and prepare myself for that. So this is my suggestion.
Yes, sir. I do want to come to you, but I also want to ask you to look at the same question in a sense from the hiring employer's perspective. So, as an employer, have you figured out that now when you hire a new MBA, you should be asking, certain types of skill sets, or looking for certain types of exposure, or maybe curiosity on AI? How is the hiring side of this equation?
Coincidentally, I was actually going to touch upon it from a talent standpoint. Continuing to what Sir mentioned, I think along with AI literacy, along with the courses, we also have already started looking at students who have gone beyond the call of the duty in terms of application of these skills which they have learned. So with the world coming closer, have the students made use of the best possible opportunity to connect with industry mentors? Have they looked at doing some projects and applying what they have learned? And it could be a self-made problem statement and a project evolved as well, right? You always don't need to have a industry ready problem and someone else should give you. So it is about the application of the learning also, which has now become very crucial. So when we interview fresh talent, we look at what they have done beyond concepts, what they have beyond courses. How have they applied into different projects? Have they looked at creating white papers? Have they looked at doing research on their own? And what is the value add they have created for themselves in that journey of 2 years? So pedigree matters, but then the contribution also matters beyond the pedigree, because then you're really showing us an application of what you would have learned as part of your curriculum or not part of the curriculum. So that's one part. Second is, on the thinking side, how evolved are you as a student, as a candidate, is something which we again keep looking at. So it could be basically somebody who is equipped with, say, design thinking or critical thinking. Are they able to again demonstrate that through the conversation they are having with our panel members? So I'll give you a very classic example. When we are looking to hire product managers for our games, we basically give them a 8-day window. We give them a problem statement, and we tell them that hey, you refer anything and everything you want, but you come back to us with a solution to this problem statement. And when we are having a conversation with those individuals, right, we try to understand the authenticity of that thinking. authenticity of what have you, where have you got it from, and how have you applied your thinking to that entire concept. So I think that is what is going to be very crucial. Along with literacy, your applicability of what you have learned, and are you able to demonstrate that through the conversation or the possible opportunity.
Fascinating. No, I think, there are so many nuances to AI and, how it's going to evolve, and, managerial activities at the apex, as I said earlier, of organizational kind of development. So there will be huge amount of changes as we all go through. Maybe with my hair, I probably will not be able to learn too many things, but Saurabh has definitely a better chance than me in terms of and then youngsters will have even more kind of opportunities to try new things. We are headed towards a new world. That's for sure. At this point, maybe we can stop and see if there are some questions or there are some thoughts from some of our audiences. I know that Balaji has been raising his hands for some time. So there is Balaji A. Maybe Balaji, I'm going to give you the mic. You can raise your question, please. You are on mute, though, Balaji. You're still on mute. Is there any question on the chat side, Aditya? My colleague Aditya is helping us on the question side. There are 3 questions I'm seeing. Actually, let me take those questions. There are 3 Q&A questions. So there's first question saying, I'm an MBA student and I have chosen marketing and business analytics as my major. What would be the impact of AI, and what are all the AI tools that I should familiarize myself with? Saurabh, you or Dr. Sarabjit, would you like to talk about marketing tools? I mean, one of the biggest marketing tools that we think about is half of all agent AI is about SDR, marketing SDR right now. So you should definitely be reading about marketing SDRs and avatars and chatbots and all those things. But maybe you have a different perspective, Saurabh, on this.
Sure. So I think from my perspective, we probably need to look at a few category of tools, and then the actual tools may vary. First and foremost, from an analytics and data science perspective, I think we have to explore the tools which will help us get better in terms of this aspect. So you look at a Tableau or a Python, or you look at a Google tool, but then the first category would be analytics and data science. The second, from a marketer standpoint, it would be about the platforms which are available, right? These could be different platforms which are required from, say, a CRM or a marketing automation, or generating leads, or even nurturing those leads, right? So there could be different AI powered platforms which would be required. The third, which is very, very common, is the Gen AI platforms, which will enable professionals in the space to get better in terms of content, in terms of ideation, in terms of putting a plan in place. So these probably are 3 buckets which come to our mind: analytics, data science, the marketing related platforms, and third is Gen AI, which will kind of be required to be done. And of course, from a learning standpoint, we've got different tools which are available, online platforms which are available, like Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, etc., which could be looked at from a enablement standpoint.
Dr. Sarabjit, do you have any opinion on this question?
So actually, he has covered most of the things, but again, I will say, depending upon your interest, tools also might vary. You want to go on the which side? You want to go for a developer side, or you want to use as a manager? So tools are also designed accordingly. And one thing is that these tools basically only will help when you have the knowledge of your basics, your fundamentals are clear. So that is very important from my side. Business analytics, you can learn machine learning, Python. These all can also help you there. Now, I don't know which courses you have done, but there are a lot of courses, as he has suggested, on online also. MOOC courses are available. You can learn from there also.
I would also like to add, And I think the student who asked the question is Arun. Arun, I'd like to ask that, you do consider that, we are entering into an age of massive personalization. We'll be able to mostly communicate one-to-one with, pretty much the entire target market that you have. We will have the data on almost everybody's personalities, about interests, about attitudes, about response times, about, demographics, all the data that you need to be able to curate individual marketing proposal or proposition or campaign for a large number of audiences using a large number of content types, and all of that is being done in an automated way using AI engine at your disposal. So as a student, start thinking about that moment where you are able to talk to the 140 crore India kind of population on one-on-one basis using an AI and a digital tool. That should be a fairly interesting problem to think about. There is another question that has been coming here. I think Saurabh, this is your comment.
I just dropped a message about my LinkedIn profile.
Do I have any other hands raised? Any other questions? We wanted to do this for about 45 minutes, so we are fairly within time so far. So one last round. If there is somebody who wants to ask a question, you can raise a hand, or you can type it in the question box, and we will take it up. Otherwise, I'll have the pleasure to thank our panelists and thank everybody who's attended. We've had about 85 people attend throughout the session. So it shows that, there is a lot of curiosity about how AI is impacting management and MBA roles, or for that matter, any amount of roles. And perhaps, we should do more sessions like this so that we can bring more information to our audiences. Any closing comments, Saurabh, from your side? Any thoughts?
Sorry, but I think John has a question. He just mentioned that he has a question, but
okay.
I don't see a question. Maybe if we want to take that one and then.
Okay, John, can I give him the access? Please ask John. Let me see if I can find John somewhere. John. Is that John R?
Yeah, it is John R.
There are so many of these John R's. I'm getting confused here. So if you can type in your question, John, we'll be happy to take it up. Because I'm getting confused. There are too many entries with John name. There is a question finally. Saying, what strategies would you recommend for students to align their career goals with emerging AI trends? Dr. Sarabjit, maybe this one is for you. And I think you already answered to some extent in the past, but if you can
to some extent I tried, but again, I will let you know that first is you should be very clear about your goals. You want to go into which stream? First is you decide that. If you really want to go for marketing, you have love for numbers, finance, or in operations, wherever you want to go. First, you clear that. Once your fundamentals are clear, then there are tools related to each and everything. Now there are tools or AI available related to marketing analytics. There is a tool related to operations, production. You have to work on it. But one thing is that there is no end to it. Even the tool which was very common or useful last year might not be very useful next year. So you have to continuously upgrade yourself about these tools. Plus, one important aspect is that human touch will never go. So always have strong faith that whatever way you are joining the company, your role will always be there. But maybe some of the jobs will become easier. You will have less people working under you, but you can still do a lot with the help of your basic knowledge. So again, as a faculty, I will say basic fundamental knowledge is must, and then you can attach some of the tools available in the market. If you can go for analytics, then you can learn some of the machine learning techniques also, which will make both the sides easier for you.
Doctor, Saurabh, so any closing remarks? And we'd like to close now because we're getting to the top of the hour now.
Sure. So I think only two points from my side. I would just say that it's extremely important to have a purpose. If we have a purpose, we will be passionate. If we are passionate, we will be proactive. And if we are proactive, we will continue practicing, which will help us to keep people at the core of anything has kept me curious, which has kept me agile, which has kept me, going on. And I think the last but not the least, we have to realize that the future will belong to those who can lead both with technology and heart. I think that's going to be something which we got to carry with ourselves and keep going. The world is going to be beautiful if we really want it to be beautiful. Thank you.
Spoken like a TEDx speaker. Thank you so much, Saurabh. This is very, very kind of you. Dr. Sarabjit, sir, any closing remarks from your side?
Again, I will also say the same thing, but in a different way. So a journey of 1,000 miles start with first step. So I will again say you take your first step and start working on it. If you are really want to achieve something, you have to start working regularly on it. You have to learn, relearn and unlearn. Some few things might not be of use. So you have to update yourself and practice and work. Hard work will always pay. So that's the mantra. I will give it to you. Please don't lose heart and work very hard. The way is very steep, but is achievable.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Sarabjit, and thank you, Saurabh, for joining us on this webinar. We will try and do more sessions, and maybe we'll invite you back in. Maybe we'll have some actual practitioners for some of the colleges in our subsequent rounds. And thank you to all our participants. This is a topic where we all have butterflies in the stomach. We are all a little bit afraid. We are all a little bit, unsure what's going to happen. But usually, as that famous advertisement is there, "Dar ke aage jeet hai" types. As our panelists have been advising, if you train yourself, use all the tools disposal, prepare for the new world, learn, I think you'll all do well as we go along. And so it seems like it's a great amplifier of human intelligence, human capability, this new technology, and hopefully lives will be better for everybody. Thank you so much for joining, and take care. Thanks also to my team at Mithilastack for setting up this webinar. Aditya, thanks so much for you, and Karthik, thank you to you as well. We'll close it at this point. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
So much. Thank you, everybody. All the best.
Thank you.